There's nothing that feels better than putting a unit together, testing it, and then putting it onto the grid and actually making electricity from it. There are a lot of things that can go wrong. It has lots of anticipation. That moment when it closes on, that's a serious high. It's also scary. I'm John Yale, and I am the hydro plant engineering manager, and I've worked for the PUD since 2005. My role is to work with the people at the hydro plants to keep all that equipment running. We need to keep the water going down the river. We need to keep the turbines running to make the electricity to keep the lights on in your house. The folks I work with, we're the ones who troubleshoot things and make sure things keep working. So one thing that I do that I really like, and I think a lot of people don't see it, it's the relationships throughout the industry. The hydro industry is really fairly small, and I interrelate with engineers trying to solve problems all over the world. Yesterday I was working with some engineers in China on an integration question. I meet in a group that has engineers from Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia. We ask each other questions. We help each other out. And that's really a neat part of this industry and a great part of my job. You know, what are things that people would be surprised to learn about me? A fun one is I actually have the car that I learned to drive in still. My father bought it shortly after I was born. I learned to drive in it. In fact, all my siblings did, and I still have it. And it's a 1959 ragtop Bug. I live 3.5 miles up Squilchuck Road. 2007, I bought what I call 8 acres of dirt and planted a vineyard, built a house, and that's home. The vineyard got started, like most things in my life, unintentionally. And when we bought the land, it was an old orchard, but there was a huge grapevine growing up the side. I don't know, some orchard worker's lunch got dropped or a bird. That turned into home winemaking and more grapes and more vines, and actually over Christmas, I got my TTB license to commercially make wine. There are a lot of things we've done in the last few years that I'm really proud of the folks that I work with. One that stands out is there was a weekend where we had a problem on one of the units at Rocky Reach. We had oil coming out of the units into the drain line. We didn't know what it was. We got together, we brought in the mechanics, we investigated the problem, figured out what it was, and took the units out of service before we had a disaster, before we lost a lot of oil into the river. That type of work, I'm very proud that we can do that and we do it well.